Imagine this. You're hiding in that perfect spot. Everything is dark. Everything is quiet. And then you realize something that makes your blood freeze. You hear breathing, but it's not your breathing. Someone else is in there with you. Hiding, watching, waiting. What would you do? Tonight, I'm going to tell you 7 true stories about people who played hide and seek. Normal people. People like you and me. But something went terribly, horribly wrong. These stories are real. The people are real. And what happened to them will make you never want to hide in the dark again. Let's begin. Story 1. The Basement Game. This first story happened in Pennsylvania. The year was 2009, summertime. Hot days, warm nights, and kids looking for fun during school vacation. There was a girl named Sarah. She was 12 years old, normal kid, good grades, lots of friends. She loved sleepovers, loved staying up late, loved doing all the things kids do during summer. Sarah had 3 best friends. Their names were Emma, Marcus, and Jake. These 4 kids did everything together. They went to the same school. They hung out every day. They were basically like family. One night, they all went to Emma's house for a sleepover. Emma lived in this really old house. And when I say old, I mean really old. The house was built way back in the 1920s. That's almost 100 years ago. You know those houses you see in scary movies? The ones with creaky floors, doors that don't close right, weird noises at night. Yeah, Emma's house was exactly like that. The floorboards made noise when you walked. The doors squeaked. The whole place just felt old and strange. But the scariest part of Emma's house was the basement. Nobody liked going down there. It was dark. It smelled weird. It was full of old junk that nobody used anymore. And Emma's parents always told them to stay out. They said the stairs were dangerous. They said the lighting was bad. They said there was too much old stuff down there and someone could get hurt. But you know how kids are, right? When you tell them not to do something, that's exactly what they want to do. When you say a place is off limits, that's where they want to go. So on this particular night, the 4 kids were bored. They'd eaten pizza. They'd played video games. They'd watched movies. They were looking for something new, something exciting, and that's when someone got an idea. "Let's play hide and seek in the basement," Marcus said. Everyone got quiet. They all looked at each other. They knew they weren't supposed to go down there. But it sounded so cool, so different, so scary in a fun way. Emma's parents were already asleep upstairs. It was past midnight. The whole house was quiet. This was their chance. "Come on," Emma said. "We'll be careful. We'll just play one game and then come back up." So they did it. They opened the basement door. The hinges squeaked so loud they thought Emma's parents would wake up. But nobody came. They turned on the light at the top of the stairs and looked down into the darkness. The stairs were made of old wood. They creaked with every step. The kids walked down slowly, carefully, holding onto the railing. When they got to the bottom, they looked around. The basement was huge. Much bigger than they thought. It went under the whole house. There were different rooms connected by doorways. Some rooms had lights. Some were completely dark. In the main area, there was a washing machine and dryer covered in dust. Nobody had used them in forever. There were old boxes stacked everywhere. Furniture with sheets over it. Shelves full of jars and cans from decades ago. And the smell. Oh man, the smell was bad. It smelled like wet concrete and old wood and something else. Something rotten. Like when food goes bad and sits there for too long. "This place is creepy," Jake whispered. "That's what makes it perfect for hide and seek," Marcus said with a big smile. They decided Marcus would be the seeker first. He stood in the middle of the basement, covered his eyes with his hands, and started counting. 1, 2, 3. The other 3 kids ran off to hide. They scattered in different directions, looking for the perfect hiding spot. The basement was so big and so full of stuff that there were a million places to hide. Sarah ran toward the back of the basement. She went through doorways into rooms she'd never seen before. Rooms full of old furniture, old boxes, old everything. The light back here was really bad. Just one dim bulb hanging from the ceiling, barely working. She found this big old wardrobe, like a tall wooden closet. It was standing against the wall. Sarah squeezed behind it, making herself small. There was just enough room for her to fit, and from back there, she could peek out through a little crack and see if anyone was coming. But nobody could see her unless they moved the wardrobe. It was the perfect hiding spot. She felt so proud of herself. She heard Marcus finish counting. "Ready or not, here I come." His footsteps echoed through the basement. Sarah heard him walking around, searching. She heard him moving boxes, opening doors, checking everywhere. She heard him find Jake first. Jake had hidden behind the water heater. Not a great spot. Marcus found him in like 2 minutes. Then she heard Marcus find Emma. Emma had tried hiding under the stairs. Also not great. Now it was just Sarah left. She smiled to herself. She was going to win. There was no way Marcus would find her back here. She heard all 3 of them walking around, searching for her. Their voices echoed through the basement. But then the voices started to get quieter, farther away, like they were moving to different areas of the basement. Sarah stayed perfectly still. She barely breathed. She wanted to stay hidden as long as possible. And that's when things got weird. Really weird. The temperature changed. Just like that, in 1 second, it went from cool to freezing cold. Sarah could suddenly see her breath. Little clouds of white breath coming from her mouth, like when you're outside in winter. She thought that was strange. How did it get so cold so fast? And then she heard something that made her heart stop. Breathing. Someone was breathing. Close to her. Very close, but it wasn't her own breathing. It was someone else. Sarah's whole body went stiff. She couldn't move. She suddenly realized something horrible. The wardrobe she was hiding behind wasn't actually touching the wall. There was a space, a gap between the wardrobe and the wall, big enough for a person to stand, and someone was standing there, right behind her. Inches away, she could hear them breathing, slow, raspy breathing, like someone who smoked too many cigarettes, like someone who was sick. The breathing continued. In and out, in and out. Right behind her head, Sarah wanted to scream, but no sound came out of her mouth. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. She was frozen in total fear. And then it spoke. 2 words. Just 2 words, but they were the scariest words Sarah had ever heard. Found you. The voice was wrong. It wasn't Marcus. It wasn't Jake. It wasn't Emma. It was older, deeper, rougher, like someone who hadn't talked in years. That broke the spell. Sarah screamed. She screamed so loud her throat hurt. She burst out from behind that wardrobe and ran. She didn't look back. She just ran as fast as she could toward the stairs, screaming the whole way. "Help! Help! Someone's down here!" Marcus, Emma, and Jake heard her screaming and came running. They met her near the stairs. Sarah was crying, shaking, barely able to talk. What happened? Emma asked, her eyes wide with fear. "Someone's down here," Sarah sobbed. "Someone was hiding behind the wardrobe with me. They talked to me. They said they found me." All 4 kids stood there at the bottom of the stairs, staring back into the darkness of the basement. Every shadow looked scary now. Every sound made them jump. "We need to check," Marcus said, trying to be brave even though his voice was shaking. "Maybe it was just, I don't know, pipes or something." They didn't want to go back there. But they had to know. They walked together, staying close, back to the room where Sarah had been hiding. Marcus had grabbed a flashlight from a shelf. When they got to the wardrobe, Marcus shined the light behind it. There was definitely a space back there. A narrow space between the wardrobe and the wall, big enough for a person to stand. Sarah had been right, but nobody was there now. Marcus moved the light around, checking every corner. And that's when they saw it. That's when they all started screaming. Scratches. Deep scratches on the concrete wall. Fresh scratches. You could see where the concrete had been scraped away. The scratches were at different heights, like someone had been dragging their fingernails down the wall over and over. And on the ground, in the dust, there were words. Someone had written words with their finger in the thick dust on the floor. The words said, "I like this game." All 4 kids ran. They ran up those stairs so fast they almost fell. They burst through the basement door into the kitchen and slammed it shut. They were all crying, all shaking, all talking at once. The noise woke up Emma's parents. They came downstairs and found 4 terrified kids in their kitchen. When the kids told them what happened, Emma's dad immediately called the police. He didn't even wait. He picked up the phone and called 911 right then. Police officers arrived maybe 10 minutes later. They searched the entire basement. They brought dogs, police dogs that are trained to find people. The dogs sniffed everywhere, checking every corner, every room. They didn't find anyone. The basement was empty. But they found something else, something that made them very serious and very concerned. There was a door at the very back of the basement, a door that was always locked. Emma said she'd lived in this house her whole life, and that door had never been open. Not once. That night the door was open, just a crack, just slightly open. Behind that door was a tunnel, an old tunnel that led to what they call a coal chute. Back in the old days, houses used coal for heat. They would have a special opening where coal delivery trucks would pour coal down into the basement. This house had one of those old coal chutes, and someone had been using it. Someone had been coming into the basement from outside through that coal chute and that tunnel. The police searched more carefully. Way in the back corners of the basement, in the darkest parts where nobody ever went, they found things. A blanket, food wrappers, empty water bottles, proof that someone had been living down there. Someone had been coming into this basement, staying there, living there, maybe for weeks, maybe for months, and nobody knew. The police never found who it was. They searched the neighborhood. They asked questions. They looked for evidence. But whoever it was had disappeared. Emma's mom later told them something that made it even scarier. She said that for months before that night, she had been hearing noises from the basement. Footsteps. Sounds like someone walking around down there. But she thought it was just the old house making noise. Old houses do that, right? She didn't think it was actually a person, but it was. Someone had been down there the whole time. Walking around, living there, hiding there, and that night, they decided to play hide and seek with Sarah. Sarah is older now. She's an adult, but she still has nightmares about that night. She still remembers that breathing behind her in the dark. She still hears that voice saying, "Found you," in her dreams. And sometimes she wakes up in the middle of the night, thinking about something that makes her scared all over again. When that person said, "Found you," they were playing the game. They were the seeker, which means they had been hiding first, hiding and waiting for kids to come down and play with them. How long had they been waiting? How long had they been hiding in that basement, hoping someone would come down and play their game? Sarah doesn't want to know the answer. Story 2. The Cornfield. Now let me tell you about what happened in Iowa. This is farm country. Big open spaces. Fields that go on forever. The kind of place where your nearest neighbor might be miles away. This happened in 2013. September. Late September when the corn is tall. Really tall. Taller than a grown man. Taller than a basketball hoop. So tall that when you walk into a cornfield, you can't see anything except corn around you. The person this happened to is named Daniel. He was 14 years old. He lived on a farm with his parents and his little sister. Their farm was huge, hundreds of acres. Most of it was cornfield. Daniel's family was having a reunion. You know, when all your relatives come over for a big party. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, everyone. There were about 20 people there that day. It was a nice warm day. The adults were sitting around talking, eating food, doing adult stuff. The kids were bored. There were 8 kids total at this reunion, different ages. The youngest was Daniel's cousin Amy, who was 7. The oldest was Daniel, who was 14. The kids wanted to play. They were tired of just sitting around, and someone suggested hide and seek. But not just regular hide and seek in the yard. They wanted to play hide and seek in the cornfield. Daniel thought this was a bad idea. He told the younger kids that cornfields are dangerous. They're like mazes. You can get lost really easily. Everything looks the same. Every row looks like every other row. Once you're inside, you can't see the house or the sky or anything. Just corn. But the other kids didn't listen. They thought it would be fun. Even some of the adults said it would be okay. They said, "Just don't go too far. Stay where you can see the house." Daniel's cousin Tommy volunteered to be the seeker. Tommy was 12. He stood at the edge of the cornfield and started counting to 50. The other 7 kids ran into the corn to hide. Daniel went deep. Maybe too deep. He ran down one row, then turned and ran down another row, then another. He went much farther than he should have. But he wanted to find the perfect hiding spot. He found a place where some corn stalks had been knocked down, creating a small clearing, like a little room inside the corn. He crouched down there and waited. He could hear Tommy yelling from far away. "Ready or not, here I come." The voice sounded distant. Muffled by all the corn, Daniel waited. 5 minutes passed. Then 10 minutes. Then 15. He started to wonder if they had forgotten about him. Maybe they couldn't find him because he'd gone too far. Then he heard movement nearby. corn stalks rustling. Someone was walking toward his hiding spot. The stalks parted, and Daniel saw Amy, his 7-year-old cousin. She was crying. "Amy, what's wrong?" Daniel whispered. "What are you doing? You're supposed to be hiding." Amy looked at him with big, scared eyes. Tears were running down her face. "Danny, something's wrong," she said. "Something bad." "What do you mean?" "I heard Tommy find me. I heard his voice saying he found me. But when I looked up at him, it wasn't Tommy." Daniel felt confused. "What do you mean it wasn't Tommy?" "It looked like Tommy. It was wearing Tommy's clothes. But the face was wrong. The smile was too big, like someone had cut the smile bigger. And the eyes were wrong. They were wrong, Danny." A chill went down Daniel's back. "Amy, that doesn't make sense. It was probably just—" He stopped talking, because they both heard it. Someone was moving through the corn, coming toward them, getting closer, and whoever it was, they were humming, a weird humming sound, not like a song, just a strange sound that made Daniel's skin feel crawly. Then they heard a voice. "Found you." It sounded like Tommy's voice, but something was off. It was too happy, too sing-song, like someone pretending to be a kid but not doing it quite right. "Stay quiet," Daniel whispered to Amy. He pulled her down, making them both as small as possible. The humming got louder, closer. The cornstalks right next to them started moving. Someone was right there. Daniel peeked through the cornstalks. He could see someone standing there. They were wearing Tommy's red shirt and jeans, the same clothes Tommy had been wearing. But Amy was right. Something was very wrong. The person was too tall, way too tall. Tommy was 12 years old, kind of short for his age, but this person was as tall as an adult, maybe even taller, and the way they stood was wrong. Too stiff, like a robot, like someone who didn't know how people are supposed to stand. "I know you're here," the voice said, still using Tommy's voice. Come out, wherever you are." Daniel made a decision. He grabbed Amy's hand and stood up and ran. They crashed through the corn, making tons of noise, not caring anymore. They just needed to get away. Behind them, they heard laughter. But it wasn't a kid's laughter. It was deeper, colder, wrong. They ran and ran. The corn seemed to go on forever. Every direction looked the same. Daniel started to panic, thinking they were lost. But then they burst out of the corn into the open area near the house. Several adults looked up in surprise as 2 kids came running out of the cornfield, both crying and scared. "What happened?" Daniel's dad asked, standing up quickly. "There's someone in the cornfield," Daniel gasped, trying to catch his breath. "Someone who looks like Tommy but isn't Tommy." The adults moved fast. Every man at the reunion went into that cornfield. They spread out, calling for the kids, searching everywhere. It took 45 minutes to find everyone. The cornfield was so big and the kids had scattered so far. They found Tommy last. He was sitting on the ground in the corn, looking confused and scared. He said he didn't remember what happened. He remembered starting to search for the other kids. Then someone grabbed him from behind, put a hand over his mouth, and whispered in his ear, "Let's switch places." The next thing Tommy knew, he was waking up sitting in the corn, with adults shaking his shoulder, asking if he was okay. All the kids came out of the cornfield. Everyone gathered near the house. The adults were counting heads, making sure everyone was there. That's when Daniel's mom noticed something. "Wait," she said. "Count again." They counted. 9 kids. There should only be 8. Everyone looked around at the children standing there. 8 kids from the family, but there were 9 kids standing there. Daniel's mom started looking at faces. She knew all these kids. She knew every single one. But there was one boy standing with the group that she didn't recognize. He looked about 13. He was wearing clothes similar to Tommy's, but she had never seen this boy before in her life. "Sweetie, who are you?" she asked, trying to stay calm. "Where are your parents?" The boy smiled, and everyone there said later that it was the wrongest smile they had ever seen. His mouth was too wide, too many teeth showing, a smile that no human should be able to make. "I was just playing," the boy said. His voice sounded flat, emotionless. "Hide and seek. It's my favorite game. Where do you live?" Daniel's dad asked, walking closer to the boy. The boy's smile got even wider. "In the corn," he said, and then he ran. He turned and ran back into the cornfield. 3 men chased after him. They ran into the corn, following the sound of rustling stalks. But it was like the boy vanished, just disappeared. They searched and searched, but found nothing. Daniel's dad called the police. Officers came out to the farm. They brought police dogs. The dogs searched the entire cornfield, all hundreds of acres. They never found any trace of the boy, but they found something else, something that made the police very interested. Deep in the cornfield, about half a mile from the house, they found a cleared area. Someone had pushed down the corn in a big circle, and in that circle were things, objects, stuff, children's toys, but old toys, really old, from like the 1970s and 1980s. There were rusted toy cars, rotted stuffed animals with the fur falling off, broken dolls with missing eyes, all sitting there in this circle in the middle of the cornfield, and carved into the dirt in the center were words, "Tag, you're it." The police took photos. They collected the toys as evidence. They asked around to see if anyone knew anything, but nobody had answers. There were no houses nearby. The nearest town was 15 miles away. No kids had been reported missing. Nobody knew where this boy had come from or where he went. Daniel's family ended up selling that farm 2 years later. A new family bought it. They moved in, started farming the land, seemed happy. Then about 6 months later, the new family called Daniel's dad. They wanted to ask about something. "Did you ever have problems with trespassers?" They asked. "Why?" Daniel's dad asked. "Because our kids keep saying they see a boy in the cornfield. They say he stands out there in the corn at night. They say he waves at them. They say he wants to play hide and seek." Daniel's dad told them everything. Everything that happened that day, about the reunion and the game and the boy who wasn't supposed to be there. The new family moved out within a month. They didn't even finish unpacking. They just left. The farm has been empty ever since. Nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to live there. Local people say that if you drive past that farm at night, especially in September when the corn is tall, you can see something in the field, a figure. Just standing there in the corn, not moving, just standing and watching the road, watching and waiting for someone new to come and play. Story 3. The School Lockdown. Let me tell you about something that happened at a high school in Washington. This was in 2016, October. The girl this happened to is named Rebecca. She was 16, a junior in high school. Her school had this tradition. Every year, right before Halloween, the student council would organize a special event to raise money for charity. The event was called Manhunt. It was basically a giant hide-and-seek game played in the school building after hours. Students would pay $5 to participate. All the money went to charity. Teachers volunteered to supervise. It was all official and organized. They'd done it for years. It was always fun and safe. The rules were simple. The school building would be dimmed but not completely dark. 10 students would be seekers wearing bright yellow vests. Everyone else would hide. When a seeker found you, you had to put on a vest and become a seeker too. Last person hiding would win a prize. That year, 85 students signed up to play. Rebecca and her best friend Ashley both signed up. They'd played before and it was always a blast. The game started at 8 p.m. on a Friday night. The building was mostly dark, just emergency lights on in the hallways. Enough to see but dark enough to make hiding fun. Rebecca and Ashley decided to stick together. They ran up to the 3rd floor into the library. The library was huge, with tall shelves and lots of places to hide. They found a spot way in the back, in the reference section where the old textbooks were. Nobody ever went back there. They crouched down behind the shelves and waited. They could hear other students running through the hallways, shouts of "Found you!" echoing through the building. It was exciting and fun. About 45 minutes into the game, things got quieter. Most people had been found already. Rebecca and Ashley were still hidden, proud of their good hiding spot. Then Ashley grabbed Rebecca's arm hard. "Did you hear that?" Ashley whispered. Rebecca listened. At first she didn't hear anything. Then she did. Footsteps. Slow footsteps coming down the main aisle of the library. Heavy footsteps. And something else. A dragging sound, like someone was dragging something behind them. "It's probably Mr. Henderson," Rebecca whispered. Mr. Henderson was the school janitor. He had a bad leg and walked with a limp. Sometimes he dragged his foot a little when he walked. But when the person came into view between the shelves, it wasn't Mr. Henderson. The lighting was dim, so Rebecca couldn't see clearly. But she could see a shape. A tall shape. Really tall. Too tall. The person was hunched over, like the ceiling was too low for them. The figure moved slowly between the bookshelves, stopping every few steps. Like it was searching. Like it was looking for something. The figure wasn't wearing a yellow vest. That meant they weren't a seeker. And they weren't hiding, so who were they? Then the lights went out. Completely out. Total darkness. Rebecca heard Ashley gasp next to her. They both froze, not moving, barely breathing. In the darkness, that dragging sound got closer. Closer. And then a smell hit them. The worst smell Rebecca had ever experienced. Like rotten meat. Like garbage that had been sitting in the sun for days. Like something dead. "I smell you," a voice whispered. The voice was close. Really close. Maybe 10 feet away. And the voice was horrible. Wet and gurgling. Like someone talking with their mouth full of liquid. Rebecca didn't think. She just reacted. She grabbed Ashley's hand and screamed, "Run!" They ran in the total darkness. Rebecca's shoulder slammed into a bookshelf. Pain shot through her arm, but she didn't stop. She could hear that dragging sound behind them. Moving faster now, and that wet breathing sound getting louder. They crashed through the library doors and into the hallway. The emergency lights gave a red glow. Rebecca could see the stairs. She pulled the fire alarm. Immediately, sirens blared through the whole school. Lights started flickering on in the hallways. Students and teachers started coming out of everywhere, confused about what was happening. Rebecca and Ashley ran down the stairs. When they got outside where everyone was gathering, they were both crying and shaking. Mr. Patterson, the vice principal, tried to calm them down. "Girls, what happened? Did someone scare you? Was it a prank?" "No," Rebecca said, crying. "It wasn't a student. It was something else. Something tall, and it smelled horrible, and—" She stopped, because Mr. Patterson's face had gone white. He was staring at something behind them. Rebecca and Ashley turned around. They looked up at the school building, at the third-floor library windows. There was something in the window. A figure, pressed against the glass. Tall, with arms that looked too long. Everyone outside could see it clearly. Students started screaming. Teachers were yelling for everyone to stay back. Mr. Patterson was on his phone calling 911. Then someone did a head count. They counted all the students. All the teachers. Everyone who had been in the building for the game. Everyone was outside. Everyone was accounted for. All 85 students. All 10 teachers. Everyone. So what was in that window? Police arrived fast. They went into the building with their guns out. They searched every floor. Every room. Every closet. Every bathroom. Everything. The library was empty. They found nothing, but they did find something strange. On the floor in the reference section where Rebecca and Ashley had been hiding, there were marks. Deep scratches in the linoleum floor, like something with claws had been dragging itself across the floor. The scratches led from the back of the library to the spot where the girls had been hiding. Then the scratches led back toward the windows. And the smell. That horrible rotten smell Rebecca had described. The police officers said it was concentrated in the library, nowhere else in the school. Just the library. They couldn't explain what would cause a smell like that. The police investigation concluded it must have been a prank. Maybe someone broke into the school to scare people. But that explanation didn't make sense. All the doors were locked. All the windows were locked. And everyone saw that figure in the window after everyone was already outside. The school never held the manhunt event again. It was canceled forever. Rebecca told me that she still can't play hide-and-seek. She's 23 now, an adult, but she can't do it. Because she remembers that voice in the darkness. That wet, gurgling voice saying, "I smell you." She remembers knowing that something had been in that library the whole time. Hiding there, waiting, watching students play their game. And it decided to play too. Story 4. The video call. This story is more recent. It happened in 2021, during the pandemic, when everyone was stuck at home, when we all spent hours on video calls just trying to stay connected with friends. The person who told me this story is named Michael. He was 19, home from college because of lockdowns. Michael and his friends were bored out of their minds. They'd been stuck at home for months. They'd played every online game. They'd watched everything on Netflix. They needed something new. One night, Michael and 4 friends were on a video call. Tyler, Jennifer, Megan, and Zach. They'd been talking for hours, just hanging out virtually. Then someone suggested they play a game. "Let's play hide and seek," Megan said. "How do you play hide and seek on a video call?" Tyler asked. They made up rules. Everyone would hide somewhere in their house. They'd keep their camera on, but point it so you couldn't easily tell where they were. The seeker would watch everyone's screens and try to guess where each person was hiding based on what the camera showed. First person whose location was guessed correctly would be the next seeker. It sounded fun, harmless, something to do. Michael was the first seeker. He watched his laptop screen, 4 video windows showing his 4 friends. Tyler's camera showed hanging clothes, so he was probably in a closet. Jennifer's showed the underside of something, maybe a bed. Megan's showed a ceiling. Zach's was almost completely black. Michael guessed correctly pretty fast. They played several rounds. Everyone was laughing. Having fun, it felt good to do something different. Then it was Megan's turn to seek. Everyone else went to hide. Michael decided to be creative. He went into his bathroom and hid inside the shower. He closed the curtain and pointed his camera at the curtain so all you'd see was the shower curtain pattern. He got comfortable and waited. He could hear Megan on the call, looking at everyone's cameras, trying to guess. "Okay, Tyler, you're in your garage. Jennifer, you're behind your couch. Zach, I think you're in a closet. And Michael, that's definitely a shower curtain. You're in your bathroom." Michael laughed. "Dang, you're good." Then Jennifer's voice came through, sounding confused. "Wait, if Megan is seeking and she just found all of us, who's that in the 6th window?" "Silence. What do you mean 6th window?" Megan asked. "There are 6 video windows on my screen," Jennifer said. Her voice was getting higher, scared. "There should only be 5 of us, but I see 6 windows." Michael felt his stomach drop. He pulled his phone closer to his face and looked at the screen. She was right. 6 video windows, 5 he recognized. His 4 friends, but there was a 6th window. It showed darkness, almost complete darkness. But there was movement. Something was moving in that darkness. Michael stared at the screen, and slowly he realized what he was looking at. His stomach turned to ice. The 6th window was showing his bathroom. His bathroom from a different angle. From outside the shower, someone was in his bathroom with him. Someone was filming him through the curtain. "Oh my God," Michael whispered. "Someone's in here with me." "Michael, get out," Tyler shouted through the phone. "Get out now!" But Michael couldn't move. He was staring at that 6th screen, watching as the camera moved closer to the shower curtain. Closer. He could hear breathing now, not from his phone. Real breathing. In the bathroom with him, on the other side of the curtain. Someone was standing right there, right outside the curtain, breathing. "Michael, move." Jennifer was screaming. The shower curtain started to move. Someone was pulling it back. Michael exploded into action. He burst out of the shower, pushing past whoever was there. He didn't look. Didn't think, just ran. He ran out of the bathroom, down the hallway, down the stairs, screaming for his parents. His dad came running. "What's wrong?" "Someone's in the house." "Someone's in my bathroom." His dad grabbed a baseball bat and ran upstairs. Michael stayed downstairs, still holding his phone. On the screen, his friends were all talking at once, asking if he was okay. The 6th video window was gone. Just 5 windows now. Michael's dad came back down looking confused. "There's nobody up there, Mike. I checked everywhere. All the windows are locked. All the doors are locked." But they called the police anyway. Officers came and searched the entire house. They found nothing. No signs of anyone breaking in. No one hiding anywhere. But they did find something in Michael's bathroom. On the shower floor, written in the condensation on the tiles, were words. Fresh words, written recently. "Good hiding spot." The police interviewed Michael for a long time. They checked his computer, his phone, everything. They tried to figure out if someone had hacked the video call, but it didn't make sense. The video chat program showed 5 people in the call. Only 5. There was no 6th person logged in. So where did that 6th video come from? Later, the police showed Michael something. They'd analyzed screenshots his friends had taken of that 6th video window. They'd enhanced the image, made it clearer. In the darkness of that 6th window, if you looked very carefully, you could see a reflection in the bathroom mirror. just for a second, a figure holding a phone. The figure was tall, too tall, with a face that wasn't quite right, and the figure wasn't standing on the ground. It was floating, hovering about 6 inches off the bathroom floor. Michael doesn't do video calls anymore unless he absolutely has to. He doesn't play online games with his friends, and he never ever hides in the shower, because he knows something was there with him that night. Something that could reach through the internet, through technology, through locked doors and windows. Something that wanted to play, something that wanted to be found. Story 5. The Abandoned Amusement Park. This story comes from a group of urban explorers, people who explore abandoned buildings and take photos. They do it as a hobby. The person who told me this is named Chris. He was 22 when this happened in 2018. He and 4 friends, Maria, Ben, Lucas, and Ava, were experienced explorers. They'd been doing this for years. They always followed rules. Go during daylight. Tell someone where you're going. Don't damage anything. Just explore and document. They'd heard about an abandoned amusement park a couple hours from where they lived. It had closed in the 1980s after someone died there in an accident. The park had been left to rot ever since. They arrived early on a Saturday morning. The park was perfect, frozen in time. Rusted roller coasters covered in vines, an old arcade with broken games, a carousel with faded horses. Everything was decaying slowly, nature taking it back. They spent hours exploring and taking photos. Around noon, they were in the old fun house. You know, those houses with mirrors and weird rooms designed to confuse you. Ben found something interesting in a back room. Behind a fallen mirror, he found a door. It wasn't old like everything else. This door was newer. Someone had installed it recently. And it was unlocked. Should we check it out? Maria asked. They debated. This door wasn't part of the original park. Someone put it here later. That meant someone might still be using it. But they were curious. The door led down to a basement. A big basement that went under multiple buildings. It was dark, so they used flashlights. As they explored, they found things that made them uncomfortable. Sleeping bags in corners, empty food containers, water bottles. Someone had been living down here. Recently. We should leave, Chris said. This is someone's space. They agreed and started heading back. But the basement was like a maze. Lots of connected rooms and passages. In the darkness, they got turned around. After 20 minutes, they still hadn't found the way out. Let's split up, Lucas suggested. We'll cover more ground. Everyone keep your walkie-talkies on. They had walkie-talkies for exactly this reason. They split into 2 groups. Chris and Maria went one way. Ben, Lucas, and Ava went another way. They'd search for 10 minutes, then meet back up. Chris and Maria walked through the dark passages, flashlights cutting through the blackness. They were about to turn back when Ben's voice came through the walkie-talkie. Guys, we found something. You need to see this. What is it? Chris asked. Static. Ben, what did you find? More static. Then Ben's voice breaking up. It's photos on the walls. I think we should... The transmission cut out. Ben. Lucas, Ava. Maria tried the walkie-talkie. No response. Chris and Maria ran back the way they'd come, trying to find the others. Then they heard something that made them stop cold. A child laughing. A little kid's laughter, echoing through the basement. But there shouldn't be any kids down here. The laughter came again, closer. Then a child's voice. Come and find me. Come and find me! Chris and Maria looked at each other with wide eyes. That's not anyone from our group, Maria whispered. They tried the walkie-talkies again. This time Lucas responded. His voice was panicked, scared. Chris, something's wrong! Ava saw static and what sounded like screaming. We need to get out now, Chris said. They started running, choosing passages randomly, just trying to find an exit. Behind them they heard footsteps. Multiple footsteps. Running, chasing, and that child's laughter following them. They turned a corner and found themselves in a large room. Maria's flashlight swept across the walls and she gasped. The walls were covered in photographs. Hundreds of them. All Polaroid pictures pinned to the concrete. Photos of people. Different people. The photos looked like they were from different years, different decades. Some looked old, from the 1980s or 1990s. Some looked recent. All the photos showed the same thing. People hiding. In closets, under beds, in corners, behind doors. And in every single photo, barely visible in the background, was a shadow. A tall shadow that didn't match anything else in the picture. A shadow that shouldn't be there. These are all people who... Maria started to say. A door slammed somewhere in the darkness. They heard Ben screaming, "Run! Just run!" Chris and Maria bolted from the room. They ran through passage after passage, completely lost, just trying to escape. The footsteps behind them got louder. It sounded like dozens of people chasing them. Children laughing, adults whispering, voices everywhere. They burst through a door and suddenly they were outside. Sunlight. Fresh air. They'd found an exit on the opposite side of the park. Ben, Lucas, and Ava came running from a different direction. All three looked terrified. They all ran to their car. Lucas started driving and they sped away from that park as fast as possible. Nobody spoke for miles. Finally, Ava said, "Did you see the photos?" "Yes," Chris said. Lucas took a picture of one of them. "We need to show the police." The photo Lucas took showed a wall covered in Polaroids. When they zoomed in, they could see the people in the photos looked terrified. These weren't people posing. These were people who'd been found while hiding, and in some of the more recent photos they recognized faces. Missing persons. People who'd disappeared in the area over the last few years and were never found. They went straight to the police. Showed them the photo. Told them everything. A search team went to the amusement park that same day. They found the funhouse. They found the door. They went down into the basement, but the basement was empty. No sleeping bags, no food, no photographs on the walls. Just empty concrete rooms. The police searched the entire basement system. They found nothing matching what Chris and his friends described. But they did find something. Scratches on the floor. Lots of scratches. Like people had been dragged across the concrete. The scratches led to a solid concrete wall. They used special equipment to look through the wall. There was a space behind it. A hidden room. And inside that room, they found something that made them seal the entire investigation. They won't say what they found. The case is classified. But within a month, the city bought the entire property and demolished everything. Not just demolished. They ground everything to dust and poured concrete over the whole area. It's a parking lot now. Chris told me this story because he thinks people need to know. He thinks those photos were trophies. Someone or something had been playing hide and seek in that basement for decades, keeping score. And the most recent missing person photo they saw, that person had disappeared 3 days before Chris and his friends explored the park. 3 days. Whatever was in that basement was still active, still playing, and if they'd kept exploring, if they'd kept playing, they might have been the next photos on that wall. Story 6. The Birthday Party. This story was told to me by a mother named Patricia. It happened to her daughter in 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia. Patricia's daughter Emma was turning 8 years old. Patricia had planned the perfect birthday party. 20 kids invited, decorations everywhere, a big cake, games, everything an 8-year-old would love. The party was going great. Kids were laughing, playing, eating pizza, having fun. Around 7 p.m., when it started getting dark outside, Patricia announced it was time for one last game before cake. Hide and seek! The kids went crazy with excitement. 20 kids jumping around, all wanting to play. Patricia set the rules. You can hide anywhere in the house and backyard, but you can't leave the property. You can't hide in the garage or in Mommy and Daddy's bedroom. Everywhere else is okay. Patricia's husband David would be the seeker. 20 children scattered to hide while David counted to 50. Patricia went to finish setting up the cake in the kitchen. She could hear David finish counting. Ready or not, here I come. For the next 15 minutes, Patricia heard the sounds of a fun game. Kids squealing when they were found. Footsteps running. Laughter. Then David came to the kitchen. I found everyone except 3 kids. I've searched the whole house. I can't find them. Which 3? Patricia asked. Emma, Sophie, and Marcus. Patricia wasn't worried yet. Emma knew this house inside and out. She probably found an amazing hiding spot. Let me help you look. They searched together, calling out that the game was over. Other kids joined in, thinking it was part of the game. They looked everywhere, under beds, in closets, behind furniture and cabinets. 30 minutes passed. Patricia was getting scared now. Emma, Sophie, Marcus, game over. You win. Come out. No answer. Patricia's worry turned to panic. David got all the other parents to help search. They went through every room systematically. The attic, the basement, every bathroom, every bedroom, every closet. The 3 children were gone. Patricia called 911. Police came fast. They brought dogs, trained police dogs that can find people. The dogs searched inside the house. Then they went to the backyard. And in the backyard, the dogs started barking at something in the far corner. The old well. The property had an old well from the 1950s. It had been dry for decades, sealed up and covered with boards, hidden by bushes and plants. Patricia had forgotten it was even there. When police looked, they saw the boards had been moved. The well was open. Patricia's heart stopped. "No," she whispered. "Please no." Officers shined lights down the well. It was deep, about 30 feet down, brick walls. At the bottom they could see something. Then they heard a voice. A child's voice echoing up from the darkness. "We found a really good spot." It was Emma. She was alive. Emma. "Sophie, Marcus." Patricia screamed down the well. "Are you okay?" "We're fine, Mommy," Emma called up, sounding happy. "We found the best hiding spot. We're going to win." "How did you get down there?" A police officer called down. "We climbed down," Emma answered. "The ladder was here." The police officers looked at each other, confused. There shouldn't be a ladder. The well was supposed to be empty and sealed. But when they lowered a camera down, they saw she was right. There was a ladder, old metal bars sticking out of the brick wall, going all the way down. 2 police officers went down on ropes to get the children. They brought them up one by one. All 3 kids were dirty but not hurt. They were smiling, thinking they'd won the game. That was the best hiding spot ever, Sophie said excitedly. "How did you know about the well?" David asked Emma. "The boy showed us," Emma said like it was obvious. Patricia felt ice in her veins. "What boy, sweetie?" "The boy at the party. He said he knew the best hiding spot ever, a place where nobody would find us. So we followed him." "Emma." Patricia knelt down, trying to stay calm. "There were no boys at your party. You invited all girls except for Marcus." "No, Mommy." "There was another boy. He was wearing old clothes, like from a really old movie. He looked sad. He said he wanted to play hide and seek, but nobody ever found him, and he was lonely." The police questioned all 3 children separately. They all told the exact same story. A boy about 10 years old wearing old-fashioned clothes had talked to them during the game. He told them about a secret hiding spot. He took them to the well, moved the boards, and helped them climb down the ladder. "Where is this boy now?" police asked. "He said he had to go find more players," Marcus said. "But he told us to stay hidden and we'd win." No other child at the party remembered seeing this boy. Patricia and David never saw him. He wasn't in any of the photos Patricia had taken during the party. But all 3 children described him exactly the same. Same clothes, same age, same sad face. Police researched the property's history. They found records from 1962. A family had lived there. They had a son named Thomas. He died at age 10. The official record said accidental drowning. But police found old newspaper articles. Thomas hadn't drowned in a pool. He'd fallen down the well. On his birthday. During his birthday party, he'd been playing hide and seek with his family. He climbed down into the well to hide and the ladder broke. He fell. His parents didn't find him until it was too late. The well was supposed to have been filled in after that. But it never was. Someone just covered it and tried to forget. The police officer told Patricia something she'll never forget. He said, "Ma'am, those kids described a boy who died 50 years ago. Down to the exact clothes he was wearing in his last photograph. A photograph they've never seen. I think Thomas was still playing, still trying to win that game, and he wanted others to hide with him. Forever." Patricia moved out of that house within 2 months. The property was demolished. Someone built a new house there. But Emma, who's 15 now, still has nightmares. She remembers the boy's face in the darkness of the well. She remembers his last words before he left. "Now nobody will ever find you. We'll win together. Forever." If the police hadn't arrived when they did, Patricia knows her daughter and her friends would have stayed down there, hiding, waiting to win a game that would never end. Story 7. The Disappearing Game. This last story is different from the others. This one doesn't have an ending, because it's still happening, right now, maybe in your town. The information comes from a police detective. I can't use her real name, so I'll call her Detective Morrison. She's been tracking something for years, a pattern, and she's been trying to get people to pay attention. It starts with social media, a challenge that appears on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all the apps teenagers use. The challenge is called the Never Found Challenge. It's simple. You hide somewhere. Could be anywhere. Your house, your town, an abandoned building, a park. You record yourself in your hiding spot. You post the video with the hashtag #NeverFound. Seems harmless, right? Just kids playing a game online. Except kids who do this challenge are disappearing. Not all of them. That's what makes it hard to notice. Maybe 1 out of every 50 kids who post with that hashtag goes missing. And they don't all disappear right away. Sometimes it's weeks later. Sometimes months. The connection isn't obvious. But Detective Morrison has been keeping track. And the pattern is clear. It started in 2014. A 15-year-old girl named Melissa in Colorado. She posted a video of herself hiding in an abandoned warehouse. She used the hashtag #NeverFound. In the video, she was laughing, saying, "Nobody will ever find me here." She went missing 3 days later. Her phone was in her bedroom. The last thing on her browser was directions to that warehouse. Police searched it completely. She wasn't there. She's never been found. 6 weeks later, a boy in Oregon, same thing, posted a hide-and-seek video with "NeverFound" in a park after dark. He disappeared 4 days later. Never found. Over the next 10 years, Detective Morrison documented 127 cases, all across the United States, all following the same pattern. Teen posts hide-and-seek video with "NeverFound" hashtag. They disappear within a week. Their phone is left behind. They're never found, twist cases. And those are just the ones she could confirm. She thinks there are more, many more, but here's the truly disturbing part. In 38 of these cases, new videos appeared on the missing person's account after they disappeared. Videos posted from their account even though their phone was with police. The videos show the missing person still hiding, in dark places, underground, in tunnels and basements and places with no light. And they're smiling, whispering to the camera, still hiding, still haven't been found. Come play with us. Detective Morrison showed me one of these videos. I wish she hadn't. The girl had been missing for 6 months. She looked wrong. Her eyes were strange. Her smile was too wide. And behind her in the darkness, there was movement. Shapes moving, other people maybe, or things that looked like people. The videos get deleted fast, but people screen record them. The accounts get investigated, but there's no trace, no IP address, no location. Like the videos appeared from nowhere. Detective Morrison found something else. A pattern in the weeks before people disappear. Family and friends report that the missing person was asking questions. Questions about hide and seek, about good hiding places, about places nobody knows about. And several reported that their missing loved one mentioned someone, a new friend, someone they met online who really liked hide and seek, someone who wanted to show them the perfect hiding spot. But this friend never existed. No social media profile, no mutual friends, no trace. Yet multiple missing people mentioned this exact same person. They described them differently, sometimes a boy, sometimes a girl, different ages, different names, but they all said the same thing. They love hide and seek. They know a place where I'll never be found. Detective Morrison thinks something is using social media to hunt. The hashtag #NeverFound is like a signal, a way for this thing to find players, to find people who want to hide, and then it shows them hiding places they can never leave. She's tried to get social media companies to ban the hashtag. They won't. She's tried to warn parents, to go public with the pattern. But every time she gets close, the story gets buried. Her bosses tell her she's seeing patterns that aren't there, that these are unrelated cases, but she knows better. And now you know too. The challenge is still active right now. Kids are still posting videos with "NeverFound." Most of them will be fine. Most are just playing a game, but some of them will post their video. They'll show their hiding spot. They'll laugh and say, "Nobody will ever find me." And they'll be right. Detective Morrison told me one more thing. In several of these cases, police found something at the scene, at the place where the person was last seen. They found scratches, on walls, on the ground, on trees. The scratches formed words, the same words every time, ready or not, so there you have it. 7 true stories. 7 times that hide and seek became something terrible. 7 times that people thought they were playing a game, only to discover something else was playing with them. Hide and seek is one of the oldest games humans have ever played. Children have been playing it for thousands of years, hiding from each other, seeking each other. It's part of being human. But maybe other things have been playing longer than we have. Maybe there are things that hide in the darkness, waiting for their turn to seek. So next time you think about hiding in a dark place, in a quiet place where nobody can find you, remember these stories. Remember Sarah in the basement. Remember Daniel in the cornfield. Remember Rebecca in the library. Remember Michael in his shower. Remember Chris in the abandoned park. Remember Emma in the well. Remember the 127 teenagers who posted never found. And ask yourself, are you really alone? Or is something hiding with you, waiting for its turn? Before I go, I need to warn you. If you see the never found challenge on social media, don't do it. If someone online wants to show you the perfect hiding spot, block them. If you're playing hide and seek and find a place that feels wrong, trust that feeling. Leave. Because sometimes the only way to win is not to play at all. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. Hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who loves horror, but maybe warn them first. Leave a comment and tell me, have you ever experienced something strange while playing hide and seek? Have you ever felt like you weren't alone? Your story might be in my next video. Stay safe. Keep your lights on, check your closets, and remember, in the darkness, something might be counting. Ready or not, here it comes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.